Hey yo, what's going on guys? It's your boy Scatino, aka Scat, and welcome to part 3 of my PlayStation 4 reveal videos that I'm doing. So obviously in part 1 I was talking about the hardware that was revealed, part 2 I was talking about the features of the controller and the system itself. In this video, in part 3, I'm going to be talking about the games that were shown. So obviously, there was a lot of speculation, of course, leading up to the event about whether or not they will actually show games at the event. We all know that a lot of Sony's first-party developers are working on games at the moment because a lot of them have been real quiet since the last releases. So, there was a lot of speculation, and on many fronts, Sony delivered. So first of all, the first game that was revealed was Knack. Mark Cerny, I think his name is, who's, practically near enough developing this console with Sony. This is his new game. It's a platformer. To be honest, I wasn't really that impressed with it from what was shown at the conference. I love platforming games. I love quite quirky platforming games. But this one didn't really impress me. It didn't really look like a PlayStation 4 title, like it was harnessing the power of the PlayStation 4. It looked more like it'd be suited on the PlayStation 3 alongside Little Big Planet. However, it remains to be seen how this game turns out. I mean, from that tiny bit that we saw on the press conference, I'm not going to judge the game just by that. It really is a remain to be seen kind of thing. Second of all, of course, the new Killzone game. Now, everyone was speculating it was Killzone 4, but it wasn't Killzone 4, so people need to stop calling it Killzone 4. It's Killzone Shadowfall. There's no 4 in it. And that shit was jaw-dropping. Jaw-droppingly gorgeous, put it that way. Really showing what the PlayStation 4 is capable of, everything that was going on, that draw distance, everything. It just looked fucking incredible. Obviously Killzone is a first-person shooter as well. It looks like it's going to be a must-own launch title. I hope it is. I hope it's going to be a good game and doesn't just have the graphics going for it. I hope it is going to be a really good game. And yeah, everyone knew Guerrilla Games was working on a new Killzone game. They said it themselves a few months back that that they had a new Killzone in the works as well as a new IP. So of course they shown off Killzone, brand recognition and all. And yeah, I hope it's going to be a good game. I mean, it definitely looks amazing. It looks like it plays like a Killzone game, quite floaty, quite floaty characters and everything like that. But yeah, it looks pretty dope. I mean, I'm not going to argue, my jaw was pretty much at the floor when I seen the quality of them graphics. So yeah, it's fingers crossed for that one. They did come out like the next day and say it is going to be a launch title. Fingers crossed that doesn't get pushed back. I mean, this is like going to be, hopefully, the killer app for the PlayStation 4. This could potentially be that game. As long as it hits launch title, at launch and not launch window, which could be, within the first 5 or 6 months, launch title, it's going to be dope. Another game that was shown was by Evolution Studios, and they're showing off a game called Drive Club. Now, I had big hopes for what Evolution were going to show. Honestly, they are the creators of MotorStorm. MotorStorm is my favourite racing game of this generation at the moment. The original MotorStorm, which I got as a launch title with the PlayStation 3. Pacific Rift, which was just fucking out of this world, amazing. MotorStorm Apocalypse, which I really, really enjoyed. But it wasn't as good as Pacific Rift. After a lot of debate with myself and with other people on my site, brooklynking.com, or not my site, my friend's site, yeah, Pacific Rift is definitely the best MotorStorm game. I was hoping that that would be the game that they come with, a new MotorStorm game. I really was expecting that, but I don't know. Maybe this series didn't really take off for them as I thought it deserved. I mean, with each subsequent MotorStorm game, the game has sold less. I mean, the first MotorStorm sold a lot, but that come through, you know, the game actually being bundled in with the system as well. So when the system sells, it sells a unit of the game that's bundled with it as well. So, you know, that game sold a lot. Pacific Rift sold a lot less. MotorStorm Apocalypse sold even less than Pacific Rift. So, you know, maybe they think, let's just try something different. I don't know. And they're going with this Drive Club thing. I wasn't impressed. I mean, the first thing I thought when they were showing this Drive Club thing, just because of like hyper realistic it looked, I'm like, this shit is going to be totally irrelevant once Gran Turismo 6 gets revealed. Honestly, even if Gran Turismo 6 doesn't come out until 2 or 3 years into the PlayStation 4 life cycle, ain't nobody going to give a toss about this Drive Club, because Gran Turismo 6 is that real life car simulator. That's what it is, you know, that is what the PlayStation brand is about. Gran Turismo is about the PlayStation. So I really don't know. I think Evolution should have stuck with the MotorStorm roots, maybe done a Pacific Rift 2, maybe done that a MotorStorm universe where it incorporated all the MotorStorms into one, you know, all the different worlds and everything, and brought it all into one. I don't know. I just would have loved a new MotorStorm game. Of course, there was the Infamous reveal. Not Infamous 3, it's called Infamous Second Son, which is a brand new character, which I'm quite happy about actually, because of the events that happened at the end of Infamous 2, having the new Infamous called Infamous 3 and starring Cole McGrath just really wouldn't fit. And I think if Sucker Punch done that, I think it would have been really disrespectful to Infamous 2 and what it done, and to Cole McGrath's character. You know, I don't think Cole McGrath should star in the new game just for the sake of the fact of brand recognition. You know, I'm glad they're going in a different direction with this one. They didn't show any actual gameplay of it, but it's Infamous. It's going to be an open world game. The power of the PlayStation 4, what open world games are going to look like and how they're going to run. You know, it's mind blowing to think of. So I'm definitely looking forward to the Infamous game. Of course, Square Enix come out and they shown a video of their new engine that they're working on. I can't remember the name of the engine, but that video was actually shown at last year's E3, but I believe last year it was just running on a PC. When they shown it at the press conference, it was shown running on PlayStation 4 hardware. And then they of course announced that, you know, they announced an announcement of Final Fantasy, that they were going to be showing that off at E3 this year. Of course they need to bring the heat with a new Final Fantasy game, just because 13 and 13.2 just really wasn't cut it this generation. So I wasn't really that bothered about Square Enix. A lot of people pissed off that they still haven't announced Kingdom Hearts 3, so, you know, never mind. Capcom come out with Yoshinori Ono, and at first I thought, yo, definitely a Street Fighter game. It's going to be Street Fighter game or a Marvel vs. Capcom game, and it's going to be like a launch title. You know, fighting games are really, really big at the moment. That's what I was expecting, that a new Street Fighter game was going to come out. That didn't seem to happen, but yet they've shown off their new engine, which is the Panta Ray engine, and they're showing off a game with the working title of Deep Down. Now, this engine looks absolutely crazy. The game, Deep Down, that was shown, I'm not sure whether that was like a cutscene or whether that was, you know, in-game graphics and that was in-game gameplay, but I mean, if you watch that video back, you know, there is a bit of a HUD. You know, it does seem to switch from like a cutscene sort of thing into what you'd suspect was the actual gameplay, walking through a cave, seeing the dragon. It was crazy. It was like, whoa, are you serious, dude? I mean, games are looking like that, man. That shit's over with. So, It's definitely going to look like an interesting title. Definitely. Of course, Media Molecule come out. I was expecting them to announce a new Little Big Planet. They didn't do that. They come out and done some shit with the PlayStation Move that I wasn't impressed for. I thought, what the fuck is this? Wii Music? Nah, I don't want to see this shit. Get off. So that was the end of them. I think his name was Jonathan Blow come out, and his company, who are the developers of Braid, was speaking about their new game called The Witness, which is like an open world puzzle adventure game, I guess. It looks interesting, I guess. I mean, the biggest thing about that for me wasn't necessarily the game. It was the fact that Sony actually brought them out on stage in the first place to show, look, we're supporting indie developers, just like the PlayStation 3, when we had all these indie developers developing games for us, like Journey, Flower, you know, from that game company, this, that and the other. It shows that they're still very much in support of these smaller indie developers. And the PlayStation 4, through the PlayStation Network, is going to be full of these great quality downloadable titles. I think that was a really, really important statement for Sony to make that maybe not a lot of people had cottoned on to at first. You know, a lot of people were thinking, what the fuck is this? You know, a downloadable title puzzle game? But you need to think about, you know, it in the, you know, the grander scheme of things. You know, read between the lines about the importance of that announcement. So what else did he announce? So I know there was something else. I've just had it right there in the back of my mind. I know I'm forgetting something. Of course, Diablo 3. The guy from Blizzard come out and said, you know, Diablo 3 is officially in the works for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. Now, I've never played a Diablo game. Like I said, I'm not a PC player, but if this is coming to PlayStation 4, it looks like the kind of game that I definitely enjoy, so I'd be all over that. Definitely. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, the fact that the new controller has got a touchpad, and PC gamers are like, well, you know, you can't play Diablo because you ain't got a mouse and a keyboard. This shit, well, I've got a mouse. It might not be very big, but shit, there's a mouse. Click, click. You know what I mean? So, you've got a mouse, you've got buttons, you've got Diablo 3. That's all I'm going to say. And of course, the dude from Activision come out and announced that, you know, Bungie is also developing Destiny for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. A huge knock to Microsoft. I mean, I just find it crazy, right? That the fact that Microsoft were with Bungie was with Microsoft for 10 years, making them Halo games. As soon as that partnership ends, they jump ship, right? We're partnering up with Sony, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, exclusive content for Destiny. I find that crazy. I'm sure a lot of, you know, Microsoft and Xbox fanboys were going to be up in arms by that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a cross-platform, cross-generational thing. The game's still appearing on 360 and maybe the 720, but the fact that they're signing deals with Sony to get, you know, exclusive content on the PlayStation system, that is a huge deal when you think about everything that Bungie have been through with Microsoft in 10 years. So, yeah, really looking forward to that game as well and what that game can bring. I mean, obviously, those are just games that were revealed then. And I know this video is going on for a long time, but there's a lot to talk about. A lot more, I guess, is going to be revealed at E3 this year. They're going to obviously talk more about the launch titles, you know, games that appear in as a launch title, or within the launch window. All I'm thinking about right at this point is Dark Souls 2. I mean, because I remember when Dark Souls 2 was announced and there was an interview, they said Dark Souls 2 is not necessarily going to hit a 2013 release. It's probably going to be 2014. I think a few weeks ago, an interview come out and I think they said that we were only 20% into the game. 20% into Dark Souls 2. That makes me think, well, are they going to be developing for PlayStation 4? Is this another game that's going to be cross-generation? Appear on PlayStation 3, 360, as well as PlayStation 4, 720. I hope that's the case. I think, you know, if they've not redesigned the whole engine, then if they keep the same engine for Dark Souls 2, then I fear it's going to run like shit on current gen consoles. If they optimise it for next gen, then that shit's going to run like butter. We don't want another Blighttown situation going on where like the frames just drop and drop and drop and drop and drop, you know, where it gets crazy and controller latency is out of this world, you know. So I'm hoping that Dark Souls 2 is coming to the PlayStation 4. So yeah, I guess one of the big things for me that didn't happen at this conference was the fact that Naughty Dog were not there. I honestly thought that, you know, Naughty Dog would come out at the end and say, right, we're developing Uncharted 4 for the PlayStation 4. What better way to end that conference? However, then I'm thinking, well, you know, Sony have now announced a console, they've announced games. What is left for E3? What better way to tackle whatever Microsoft and Nintendo announce than to, at their E3 conference, come out with Naughty Dog and say Uncharted 4 is in development for the PlayStation 4 and is going to be a launch title for the PlayStation 4. You think about that. Killzone Shadowfall, Uncharted 4, launch title. What? That is a ridiculous lineup, just them two. I mean, we all know that Naughty Dogs, as a developer, have split off into two teams now. One half of them are working on The Last of Us, which ships in June. What are the other half working on? It's either got to be Uncharted 4 or it's got to be a new IP. I don't think they can go a whole new generation without releasing an Uncharted game. I think get Uncharted 4 out of the way, you know, that's going to push so many units, so much hardware. Get that out of the way, then maybe do a new IP. Get working on a new IP. Get your second half of the people to create The Last of Us 2, then get the Uncharted people to start developing a new IP. Or just come together and do a new IP. I'll be good with that, but the PlayStation 4 has to have an Uncharted game. It just has to. And of course, you know, and I should have mentioned this back in the features section, but there is going to be remote play with the PlayStation Vita. I hope it's going to be as lag-free as possible, but, you know, playing these PlayStation 4 games on your PlayStation Vita is going to be phenomenal. I mean, they completely kicked Nintendo in the bollocks with that announcement, because it's basically doing what the Wii U does. Takes your gameplay from the TV, transfers it over to the gamepad. PlayStation 4 does the exact same thing. Takes the gameplay from the TV, transfers it over to the Vita, where you can continue to, you know, unlock trophies and all the rest of it, you know, if anyone wants to use the TV. So yeah, that's a dope ass announcement. So yeah, that's the end of the games. I don't think I missed anything out. So I hope you all enjoyed again. I'm sorry if this video was a lot longer than the previous two, but as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and that's it. I'm your boy Scatino, and I'm out. Peace.